Now, as you head out to your July 4th festivities, make sure you lather on the sunscreen. One dermatologist in West Michigan busting some myths for us this morning about sunscreen. Her best advice: any sunscreen is good as long as you like it and it fits your budget.
So the basics of sunscreen, there are so many good options out on the market these days. The things that you really want to be looking for in a sunscreen are an SPF number. We really like a 30 as a minimum or higher. There were some studies way back when, or some rumors, that it doesn't get any better after 30. And when you study it in a lab, that's true. It doesn't get much better after 30. But when you use them in real life, you get more benefit from the higher numbers, because most people aren't putting it on thick enough to get the number advertised on the bottle. So if you're going to get it on nice and thick, 30 is probably enough. But if you can find a 50 or a 70, you're going to get more benefit from that. We want something that's broad spectrum, which means it blocks UVA and UVB. Most of the things that are on the market now are broad spectrum, so you don't have to look very hard for that, but that's something you'd want to just double check. Waterproof or water resistant, which means it's going to go through the sweat, the swimming, all of that. It will still have some protection when you get out. We tend to like lotions, that they work better than the sticks or the sprays. You can see where you're applying them. They generally get a thicker coverage than the sprays. So those are kind of the main things that you want to be looking for. There's some controversy, or like you say, a lot of things on social media looking at, oh, is sunscreen bad for me? A lot of that comes from two things in about the past 5 years. One was a study looking at, does sunscreen get absorbed into your body? And a few years ago, there was a study that had people apply sunscreen kind of head to toe every few hours for a few days. And they found that, yeah, the chemical sunscreens do get absorbed into the bloodstream. The conclusion of that study was, what does it mean? We don't know. Further studies needed. So anyone who has concerns about, what's that doing to my body, we would say, look for a physical sunscreen. That's zinc and titanium dioxide, or your mineral sunscreens. Those molecules are too large to get absorbed into the skin, so they just sit nicely on the surface. They used to be really white and pasty, so no one liked to use them, but they're getting a lot better now. Some of them even add in a tint to help blend into your skin. So if you have any concerns about kind of what is the sunscreen doing, pick those physical sunscreens, mineral sunscreens. The other thing that was found was back in, I think it was a few years ago, but there was a study looking at if sunscreens contain benzene. Benzene is something that's a contaminant in the manufacturing process of like cosmeceutical products and pharmaceutical products. And so some sunscreens were found to have benzene in them, which is concerning because, like we say, it can cause cancer. So there was a list that was put out of sunscreens that had benzene. A lot of them were sprays. We would say we don't prefer the sprays anyways because they don't provide great coverage. There were a few lotions on there. Most of them were like drugstore brands, but there's a list out there. So if you wanted to make sure that your sunscreen doesn't have benzene, you can either pull up the list, or if you Google benzene-free sunscreens, there's a lot of good options on there. So we'd say try and avoid sprays, get mineral sunscreens, and those are the things that you can kind of do to be safe.
So again, some common mistakes people make: not applying enough sunscreen and not reapplying it. You should use a thick layer and reapply every 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it's easy to forget these things. You're out having fun, you're in the pool, but I think it is, important to remember just this quick little step can offer a lot of safety for you.
Of course, and then also too, when people are going out to the beach or the pool, they might be thinking about their sunscreen, but even going for a walk, if you're going to be outside for a couple of hours, I mean, it's still very important to make sure you're taking care of your skin.
Yeah, that is such a great point, Amber. And we will be seeing a lot of sun over the next couple of days, right?